What if I told you that the biggest threat to your property isn't a natural disaster, a tax collector, or even your HOA president named Karen who measures your grass with a ruler every Sunday morning? It's a dusty binder sitting in a municipal office that decides you can't build a treehouse on land you own, can't start a small business in your own garage, and definitely can't have chickens. Because apparently, Fluffy the chicken is a public menace worthy of legal action, but a Walmart parking lot the size of Belgium is just smart urban planning. You pay property taxes on it every year. You mow it every weekend. You stress about it when the mortgage is due. But according to the law, you don't really own it. The zoning board does. And they meet every third Thursday at 2 p.m. when you're conveniently at work. Before the algorithm buries this video under cat compilations, someone trying to explain cryptocurrency again, and that guy who builds underground pools with a stick, let me show you exactly how a century-old bureaucratic experiment turned the American dream into a 40-page permit application. Oh, and if you enjoy learning how your freedom got systematically zoned out of existence while everyone was watching reality TV, go ahead and smash that like button with the fury of someone who just got their deck-building permit denied for the third time. Subscribe if you want more videos exposing the absurd systems we all just accept as normal. Share it with that friend who thinks they live in a free country, because freedom is great and all, but the algorithm is better. And honestly, the algorithm might be the only landlord that doesn't require 6 months of paperwork. Let me guess your story. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You wanted to build a tiny home on your parents' 5-acre property in the countryside. Seems reasonable, right? They have the space. You have the money. Everybody wins. Denied. Minimum square footage requirements. Doesn't meet code. Or maybe you wanted to rent out your basement to help cover the mortgage after your company did that fun thing where they restructured your position out of existence. You have a perfectly good basement with a bathroom, a kitchenette, and a separate entrance. Illegal. Single-family zoning. Your single-family home is only allowed to house a single family, even though it's literally designed for more. Or perhaps you wanted to open a small coffee shop in your neighborhood, because the nearest one is 45 minutes away by car and requires a highway toll, a prayer, and a podcast to endure. Your neighbors are begging for a local spot to gather, not zoned for commercial activity, as if selling coffee is somehow more dangerous than the meth lab that operated there in the 90s. Maybe you wanted to add a second dwelling unit, a granny flat, an ADU, a casita, so your aging mother could live near you instead of alone in another state, slowly forgetting to eat meals and mixing up her medications. Multi-generational living. You know, that thing humans did for literally thousands of years. Nope. Single family only. 1 unit per lot. Because apparently taking care of your parents is too exotic for suburban Connecticut. Too ethnic. Too not American, even though it's the most American thing historically speaking. And my personal favorite, you wanted to install solar panels on your own roof to reduce your electric bill and maybe, just maybe, do something mildly good for the planet while you're here. But the Homeowners Association said it disrupts the aesthetic continuity of the streetscape, which is just fancy code for, we prefer everyone to look equally boring and fossil fuel dependent together. You start to feel like you own your land the way a fish owns the ocean. Technically true on paper, functionally false in every way that matters. Here's the truth hiding under the manicured lawns, identical beige houses, and 2-car garages of modern suburbia. Zoning laws were never designed to protect you. They were designed to control you, exclude others, and make absolutely certain that wealth stays exactly where it is, locked safely behind a gate, a permit office, and a minimum lot size of 1 acre. And now, 100 years later, these laws aren't just annoying. They're actively pushing people off their own land, not with bulldozers or eminent domain or dramatic government seizures, with paperwork, with fees, with regulations so dense and contradictory that giving up becomes easier than fighting. Let's talk about how we got here, why it's so much worse than you think, and what it means for anyone who still believes they can own a piece of the American dream without a legal team and a trust fund. In the beginning, there was chaos, and then lawyers showed up. Zoning laws started in the early 1900s. The idea was simple, almost noble, genuinely well-intentioned. Separate the pig farm from the mansion. Keep the factory smoke away from the children's school. Make cities livable and functional instead of diseased hellscapes where cholera runs through the streets like a hobby. Sounds perfectly reasonable, right? Downright civilized. Except that's not what happened. What actually happened is that cities quickly realized zoning was the perfect legal tool to keep undesirable people out of nice neighborhoods. And by undesirable, they didn't mean criminals or dangerous individuals. They meant poor people, immigrants, black families, Catholics, Jews, anyone who wasn't white, Protestant, property-owning, and country club approved. It's like if you invented a knife specifically to cut bread, and then someone said, actually, you know what? Let's use this to carve up entire neighborhoods by race and class and make it legally enforceable. Early zoning laws explicitly banned apartment buildings from wealthy areas, not because apartments are dangerous, but because apartments are affordable. And affordable means accessible, and accessible means mixed. And mixed means your property values might not skyrocket forever. Can't have that. In 1926, the Supreme Court blessed this whole scheme with Euclid versus Ambler Realty Co. They said yes, cities can absolutely restrict how you use your private property for the public good. And just like that, zoning became law, permanent, powerful, and polite enough that no one questioned it for decades. Because you can't call it segregation if you call it land use regulation. You can't call it discrimination if you call it preserving neighborhood character. The language changed. The effect didn't. Mini punchline. The pig farm got moved to the edge of town. The people, they just got priced out entirely and never came back. One house, one family, one slow financial death. Here's where it gets absolutely spicy, my friends. About 75% of residential land in the United States is zoned exclusively for single-family homes. That means no duplexes, no triplexes, no apartment buildings, no townhouses, no accessory dwelling units, no in-law suites, no creative solutions to a worsening housing crisis. Just one house, one family, one massive mortgage you'll be paying until you're 70 and your knees don't work anymore. Now that sounds quaint and picturesque and very American until you realize what it actually does. It makes housing artificially expensive, deliberately exclusive, and financially exhausting for everyone except people who already own. Can't afford a $500,000 starter home? Too bad. The law says we can't build anything smaller, denser, or cheaper here. Not allowed. Illegal. Want to live near your job in the city so you don't spend 3 hours a day commuting through traffic that makes you question the meaning of existence? Sorry, all the land near jobs is zoned exclusively for single-family mansions that only venture capitalists and divorce attorneys can afford. It's like if McDonald's was legally required to only sell filet mignon. Sure, it's fancy, the quality is great, but now nobody can afford to eat, and we're all just standing outside pressing our faces against the window watching rich people chew. And here's the kicker. Single-family zoning doesn't even make neighborhoods better. It doesn't reduce crime. It doesn't improve schools. It doesn't create community. What it does do is make everything spread out. It forces you to drive everywhere. It kills walkability. It destroys local businesses because there's not enough density to support them. You want a corner store? Can't have one. Not zoned for it. You want a cafe you can walk to? Nope. Drive 15 minutes like everyone else. You want your kids to walk to school? Cute. But the school is 3 miles away across a 6-lane road because we spread everything out so much that nothing is near anything. The ugly truth, single-family zoning doesn't protect neighborhoods. It protects property values. And property values are just a polite, economically sanitized way of saying keeping the wrong people out. Because if your house is expensive and new houses can't be built, your house stays expensive. Scarcity by design. Mini punchline. You're not living the American dream. You're living the only legally allowed version of it, and it comes with a 30-year payment plan. You'll need Form 237B, a blood sacrifice, and 6 months of your life. Let's say you want to build something on your own property. Anything. A shed to store your lawnmower, a deck so you can enjoy your backyard, a fence so your dog stops visiting the neighbors uninvited, a lemonade stand so your 7-year-old can learn capitalism before the system crushes their spirit. Cool. Great. Love that energy. Step 1. Fill out Form 237B. Pay the $450 non-refundable application fee. Wait 6 weeks while someone named Gerald reviews your shed proposal between coffee breaks and fantasy football updates. Get denied because your shed is 18 inches too close to the property line, which violates setback requirements that were written in 1973 and haven't been updated since. Resubmit with new plans. Pay another $300 reapplication fee. Wait another 6 weeks. Get approved this time, but only if you use this specific type of pressure-treated lumber. Paint it within 30 days in one of these 4 pre-approved colors, and make absolutely certain it's never ever visible from the street because visual blight. Congratulations, you just spent $2,000, 4 months of your life, and a concerning amount of emotional energy to store a lawnmower. Meanwhile, right down the road, some corporation wants to build a 50,000 square foot Amazon distribution center that'll bring semi-trucks through your residential neighborhood at 4 a.m., flood your street during rainstorms because they paved over all the drainage, and bathe everything in sodium vapor lights 24/7. Approved in 3 days. Tax incentives included. Job creation. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed, to exhaust you into submission while greasing the wheels for whoever has money and lawyers. The metaphor, zoning permits, are the bureaucratic equivalent of a video game where every single level requires a boss fight, but the boss is a bored municipal clerk named Gerald, who only works Tuesdays and Thursdays, takes lunch from 11:30 to 1, and doesn't check his email. And you can't skip the level. You can't save and come back. You just have to fight Gerald, over and over, until you give up or go broke. Mini punchline, you don't own your land. Gerald does, and Gerald is very, very tired. The land of entrepreneurship, unless you're literally an entrepreneur. You know what's illegal in most of America? Running a business from your home. Not a meth lab, not a human trafficking ring, not a counterfeit passport operation or an unlicensed alligator farm, a bakery, a consulting firm, a tutoring service, a yoga studio. Why? Because your neighborhood is zoned residential. And residential means one thing: sit quietly, consume products, commute to work, don't produce anything. You can work from home if you're employed by a massive corporation. You can take Zoom calls for Google in your pajamas 40 hours a week. Nobody cares, but you can't work for yourself from home. You can't create, you can't sell, you can't build anything. Think about that for a second. Amazon can deliver 47 packages a day to your driveway. FedEx, UPS, DoorDash, Instacart, they can all turn your street into a logistics hub, but you can't bake 6 cakes a week and sell them to your neighbors without violating municipal code. You can't teach piano lessons in your living room without a variance. You can't fix cars in your garage, even though your grandfather did exactly that for 40 years, and nobody complained because it was useful and created community and kept wealth local. The contradiction: we worship entrepreneurs in theory. We lionize them in movies and TED Talks. We name buildings after them, but in practice, we criminalize them. We regulate them into oblivion. We make it easier to work for a corporation than to work for yourself. Mini punchline: the American dream now requires a commercial lease, liability insurance, and a zoning variance. Doesn't that sound dreamy? So inspiring. We care deeply about affordable housing. We just don't want to see it, touch it, or live near it. Every single city council in America, every single one, will tell you they care about affordable housing. They'll host town halls about it. They'll form committees. They'll publish reports with heartbreaking statistics about homelessness and rent burden and families living in motels. And then, when someone proposes actually building affordable housing, they vote to block it. Every single time. Why? Because affordable housing lowers property values. It brings in the wrong element. It changes neighborhood character. It creates traffic concerns and parking issues, and doesn't fit the aesthetic, which is all just code. Polite, politically acceptable code for, we like being expensive and exclusive, and we'll use any excuse to keep it that way. So cities pass laws requiring every new apartment to have 2 parking spaces per unit, even in dense, walkable neighborhoods where nobody needs a car. Why? To make development more expensive, to make it financially unviable. They demand endless community input sessions, which really just means letting the loudest NIMBYs with nothing better to do veto everything forever. They require new developments to be compatible with existing neighborhood architecture, which is code for nothing new, nothing dense, nothing different, nothing affordable ever gets built. They demand traffic studies that cost $50,000 and take 6 months and always conclude that yes, housing does in fact generate some traffic. Shocking. And after all that, after the meetings and the studies and the delays and the compromises, the project dies. The developer gives up. The land stays empty or becomes more luxury housing because that's the only thing profitable enough to survive the process. The irony: the same people who tell struggling renters, just move somewhere cheaper, are the exact same people making it literally illegal to build cheaper places to live. Mini punchline: affordable housing is like Bigfoot. Everyone's seen the plans. There are committee meetings about it, but nobody's actually seen the building because it doesn't exist. You're not paying for a house. You're paying for permission to build a house. Here's the final, beautiful, infuriating kicker that ties this whole nightmare together. All of this entire spiderweb of zoning laws, variances, permits, environmental reviews, public hearings, setback requirements, and fees upon fees upon fees, doesn't just stop you from building what you want. It makes everything monumentally, absurdly, unnecessarily more expensive. Economists estimate that zoning laws add somewhere between $200,000 to $400,000 to the price of a home in major American cities. Let me repeat that. $200,000 to $400,000. Not because of land costs, not because of materials or labor, not because of supply chain issues or inflation, because of compliance, because of permission, because of the legal right to build what you want on property you supposedly own. You're not paying for a house. You're paying for the bureaucratic privilege of being allowed to build a house. The metaphor, it's like paying a $50 cover charge to enter your own living room, every single day, forever. And who benefits from this system? Who actually thrives in this environment? Developers with in-house legal teams, corporations with lobbyists on speed dial, wealthy people who bought property before all these rules existed and now benefit from artificial scarcity. The barrier to entry is so high that small builders can't compete. Local entrepreneurs can't afford to play. The little guy gets crushed. The reality, zoning laws don't protect you. They don't protect your neighborhood. They don't even protect property values long-term because eventually nobody can afford to buy. They just price you out while enriching the people already at the top. Mini punchline, the free market died of paperwork. Cause of death, zoning code, section 4.7.2, subsection B. And here's where it gets really, truly darkly absurd. Some cities are now banning RVs on private property. Even if you own the RV, even if you own the property, can't park it there. They're banning tiny homes, even on rural land with no neighbors for miles, because they don't meet arbitrary minimum square footage requirements. They're banning people from sleeping in cars parked in their own driveway, because apparently, being homeless on your own property is still too much freedom for the system to tolerate. In Los Angeles, it's illegal to sleep in your car overnight. In Denver, it's illegal to sit or lie down on public sidewalks. In San Francisco, people get tickets for sleeping in tents on public land. And before you say, well, just get a house then, remember, these same cities make it illegal to build affordable housing. We've criminalized poverty while outlawing the solutions. We've gone from the government will help you build to the government will fine you for trying to survive. It's not about safety anymore. It's not about order or planning or protecting anyone. It's about conformity. It's about control. It's about keeping the system exactly as it is, broken, exclusionary, expensive, no matter how many people it crushes. So here's the takeaway, the bottom line, the thing you need to understand. Zoning laws started as a tool to organize cities and separate incompatible uses. That was the story. That was the sales pitch. But they became a weapon to control land, exclude people, concentrate wealth, and make sure the American dream stays just out of reach for anyone who doesn't already have money. And now, 100 years later, they're pushing people off their own property, not with force, not with violence, but with fees, fines, permits, and 1,000 tiny rules that whisper the same message over and over. You don't really own this. But here's the actual good news, and I mean this sincerely. People are waking up. Cities like Minneapolis, Portland, and Berkeley are starting to repeal single-family zoning. States like California, Oregon, and Washington are legalizing accessory dwelling units statewide. The conversation is finally shifting. Young people can't afford houses. Families are being crushed by rent. The contradictions are too obvious to ignore anymore. Because once you see it, once you really see how the system works, you can't unsee it. Next up, I'm breaking down how parking minimum requirements destroyed American cities and turned downtowns into asphalt wastelands. Spoiler alert, we paved paradise, put up a parking lot, and then made it illegal to build anything else. Click that video now, before your city council zones YouTube out of existence and replaces it with a public hearing that meets every third Thursday at 2 p.m. And remember, freedom is great, it's beautiful, it's worth fighting for. But the algorithm? The algorithm is better. And honestly, at this point, the algorithm might be the only landlord that doesn't require 6 months of paperwork and a background check. See you in the next one.